We are live. Well, hello there in social media world. It is Monday again. Every single Monday, we inch closer to the end of this 2020 year. And I say it all the time. I feel like I went to sleep in March and I woke up and it's already December. And for some of us, that is a good thing. We are so ready to move on to bigger and brighter, and hoping 2001 will bring the opening that we're looking for, and also just to really get us reset, because this year's been a little weird. And so today we have such a great webinar topic for small business owners all over the state. It is vitally important that you guys get situated, grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine if it's 5 o'clock somewhere. We don't ask questions. We just know you need to be sitting in front of your computer for this, because this is important information. It's all about how the CARES Act money is getting allocated. There is so many ways right now. There's state, there's city, there's county, and we want to work with the state today. We want to talk to the experts in the area. But before we get started, I want to say hello, everybody. I'm Shannon Hawkins, Vice President with the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce, and we are so thankful to have you, our membership, and the community out there that tunes in and, really provides us the topics that you guys need and want to hear more about. And so we are getting set for next Thursday, our State of the Chamber. Next Thursday, December 17th from 3 to 5. We are really preparing and excited about sharing with you guys what this year has meant to the Chamber. We use the word pivot a lot. I know not everybody loves that word, but we've learned to pivot, and so has the community, and so have you, the small business owners. And so we're really excited about sharing that, highlighting some of you, and really talking about the exciting things that are going to be coming up in 2021 and how we're going to continue to support. So speaking of support, today we have with us from the state of New Mexico, a group of ladies that are really going to break things down for us. I want to start with introductions. So I'm going to, Marquita, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and who you're with.
Sure. Thank you very much. My name is Marquita Russell. I'm the CEO of the New Mexico Finance Authority, which is a government instrumentality of the state. So we're not a state agency, but we are created by state statute. And we are very pleased to be talking to you today. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Shawnee, directly from the Economic Development Office.
Hi, my name is Shawnee Harvey, and I am the Executive Assistant to Cabinet Secretary Keys with New Mexico Economic Development. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, we're excited to have you guys, because you guys know, obviously, what this year has brought, what this year has meant to the economy in New Mexico. And now there's, money available. And I think what's really, really important that small business owners know that yes, there is guidelines, as there is with anything that you're applying for, but most businesses are eligible, and it is our job to get the information out to you in a way that you can understand it in a timely manner. And then we're really, really going to push you, the public, the small business owners out there, to apply for these monies. And in order to do so, you need more information. So I'd like to start with Marquita, and if you could just kind of start with, the amount of money and what it means when businesses don't apply for this money, because that is one of the biggest questions. So Marquita, take it away.
Sure. Could I share a screen and go through just a little bit of a slide deck?
Absolutely.
I think that would help a lot.
I like visuals.
I do, and it helps me a little bit. Thank you, Mondays. So I am here to talk to you today about what we're calling the Small Business CARES Relief Grants. As I mentioned before, the New Mexico Finance Authority is an agency that's been around for a while, since 1992, but primarily has been working with your communities to help your cities and counties buy fire trucks, finance water projects, road projects, that sort of thing. One of the things that we introduced, or that we became known for, was the Small Business Recovery Loan Fund, which is not the program we're here to talk about, but would mention to you is still available through the end of December. So that's a really helpful program that the state created back in June. You can get loans of up to $75,000 at 1.625%, no collateral, no personal guarantees, and interest is paid annually for the first 3 years. So really an important loan program as well, but statutorily it goes away at the end of December. So just wanted to mention that. The other program that we have been operating, and it became open about 10 minutes ago, is the Small Business CARES relief grants. The legislature, as part of the second special session, just right before Thanksgiving, provided $100 million of the federal stimulus money to us to operate this grant program. They put out a few requirements. One is that it go to New Mexico and businesses, so you have to have at least 51% of your business owned by New Mexicans. It has to be grants of no more than $50,000. They asked us to give priority to businesses that are experiencing severe economic hardship and those in the hospitality and leisure industries. I think the legislature, the governor recognized full on what a particularly difficult time this has been for those industries. And then they asked that I make certain that the monies get dispersed throughout the state. They wanted to make sure that we saw them everywhere. So we've done a couple of things to hit those targets. But again, it's important to know that the application just opened and will remain open until noon on December 18th. So you have about 11 days. In order for us to help hit that geographic dispersion, we've set aside 60% of the money for businesses that are in Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, Las Cruces, and Santa Fe, and those businesses that are within 10 miles of those city limits. Everything else, every other part of the state, businesses in those areas will have access to funds for what we're calling a rural pool, and that is 40% of the money. So $40 million for businesses outside of those 4 big cities, and then $60 million for those within those cities. We are prioritizing the hospitality and leisure industry by setting aside pots of money for those particular industries. So we're putting aside 20% for hotel, motel accommodations, 20% for businesses in the food industry and bars, so restaurant bars, 15% for all other leisure businesses. And there's a code that helps you determine if you are in that group. It's called the Arts, Entertainment, Recreation Code. We're putting aside 3% for those really important destination marketing organizations. Those are the folks that make certain that tourists are coming into our state. And then 2% for non-employer businesses. Those are those, well, I'll just call mom and pop shops that don't have any employees. We are going to be accepting applications and putting out the money, not on a first come, first serve basis, but based on economic impact. So at 3 different times, we'll take the applications that have been submitted and we will prioritize them based on each application's profit and loss for the period of April 1st through November 30. And we'll divide that profit or loss by the number of employees. And that way we can try to have an apples to apples comparison for each of the applications that come in. As I mentioned earlier, we're doing those pots of funds, and you can see here on this slide number 5 that I've got up exactly how much money is expected to be in what communities based on the kind of industry it is. I would note that if you're not a hospitality and leisure industry, 40% of the money will be set aside for businesses like yours. And that means 24 million for businesses in those urban areas and 16 million for those businesses in rural areas. So if you're not a hospitality or leisure business, there's still plenty of money set aside for your businesses.
Marquita, can we just really quick take a second? You may have a slide that's upcoming, so I might be jumping ahead. But first of all, I wanted to clarify, attention everybody, the link is just opened 10-15 minutes ago. So if I were you, I would be like, as we're sitting here watching, I would be on the computer. I would be finding out what you need to do first and foremost. Can you repeat one more time the date that it closes and what time? And then also, can you just touch base on what do you guys consider the hospitality industry? Like what falls within that topic, that industry?
Sure. So a couple things. You're gonna I would wait to get through this presentation before you start going into the website, just because a lot of the stuff is either going to be on this or in our frequently asked questions, which is also on our website. The date is open until December 18th. I have till about right before Christmas in order to get all this money into the bank accounts of small businesses. So we are taking the applications through Friday, December 18th. It is not done on a first come, first served basis. So please don't submit an application with incomplete information. Take your time, get all your documents together and submit them. Should take about 30 minutes once you've got all your documents to actually submit the application. Very user friendly. So you have till December 18th, but I would note that you really want to try to get your application in this week by that noon on Thursday, December 10th, that deadline, because that's the time frame where we're going to do the first review. Let me just go to this slide, it'll help a little bit. We're going to make grants based on the size of the employees that you have, and we're going to fund them in the order of the priority that we just talked about, that profit and loss per employee. So I have $40 million set aside for the first round, and it's going to be divided up in those little pots that we just talked about with hotel, motel industries. Those are the ones in the 721 NAICS code, they're called. And then
Yeah, the
20%.
the NAICS codes for everybody out there listening, North American Industry Classification System. And if you're doing anything in the federal realm procurement, those codes are vitally important. I would recommend you know your codes, whether you're going to get loans, you're going to do work with the government in the future, know your NAICS codes, and they're all listed by industry, so you can find them pretty easily.
Yeah, you can actually find them on your tax returns too. They call them business codes there, but it's the same code. So whether it's actually being referenced as the NAICS code or your business code, they're actually on the tax forms that you submit. So it's important. And on our application, we actually tell you where on your tax form you'll find that business code, and it's a 2-digit number with the exception of hospitality and industry, where we're going to use the first 3 digits. So that's how you clarify them, but there's a really easy to use website, but you've already had to declare your business industry in order to submit your taxes. So that's that information. Grants again go from 1 employee to 5 employees, you get $10,000. If you have between 6 and 15, you get 15. 16 to 25, you get $25,000, and so on. And it maxes out between 76 and 100 employees, you get that 50,000. And we have to limit it to $50,000 and to 100 employees based on the statute. So just mention that contract employees do not count in that calculation. It's a combination of full and part-time. So it's the number of heads that you have paid. So it's not an FTE calculation, but the actual people that got paid on your payroll from your business. And we're going to look at your wage reports that you've submitted either to the Department of Workforce Solutions, or, your wages get, as you know, reported a number of different places, but we're going to use that quarterly wage report to verify the number of employees you have. And this is an important point, Shannon, that we're going to allow businesses, because of the COVID conditions, to maximize their ability to apply for a grant by choosing the month that they want to represent their business. So we can go back to January of 2019 all the way to November of 2020. You pick the month that maximizes your ability to get a grant, and that's the month that you report to us and that you get, and that's the quarter that you'll need to submit to us for your Department of Workforce Solution quarterly wage report. So if you are a seasonal business and your season is basically April or May through August, obviously this year's numbers won't benefit you very much because you weren't able to hire, particularly restaurants and bars. So go back to last year and get us a number that hits that seasonal number. Conversely, if you are one of those organizations that normally has more than 100 employees, but you've had to furlough or lay off this year, use one of the pandemic numbers. It's our goal here is to maximize the potential grant for as many as we possibly can. So that's a really important point. Don't necessarily look at what you're doing now. look at what your normal business is set up to do and try to maximize the amount of grant you have available. This is that 40 million. These are the rounds that I was just talking about. 40 million will be made available through noon on Thursday. Anyone not funded at the noon on Thursday, but has submitted an application by noon of next Tuesday, December 15th, all those applications will be prioritized again. 35 million will be made available. And then lastly, as long as you've submitted your application by noon on December 18th, you're going to be eligible to receive a grant. We'll have 25 million set aside for that round in particular, and if there are remaining dollars from prior rounds. So we will be making certain that all eligible applicants are looked at one more time by the end of the application period, which is December 18th. But please only apply once. We don't want you to go through that work, and we don't want to mess up or clog up our application system. So apply once, make sure it's complete. There is no difference between submitting an application in an hour from now than there is at 10 o'clock on Thursday. All those applications will have the exact same consideration. So please take your time, get everything together, look at the stuff, look at it once or twice, make sure you've got it right, because that's ultimately what will hurt your chances. It can be used, the monies can be used for any regular expenses. So if you've got a payroll to make, if you've got rent to make, if you've got a loan payment you haven't been able to make, all those things are eligible. And you know what we have to just demonstrate is that these are normal business expenses, but your revenues are decreased because of COVID-related activities, or you even have increased expenses. Maybe you had to put in a new ordering system, an electronic website had to be up, it had to be updated, or whatever it is that the pandemic and the emergency health order, whatever additional expenses came as a result of that, are actually eligible too. So we're not looking for projected losses. We're looking for actual things that happen to you. And we'll capture all that stuff in the application. And these are federal dollars. So, we may have to come back and ask you for additional information, but we're not asking you to submit receipts or anything like that as part of this application. I think the other point that questions we gotten a lot, Shannon, is whether or not if they've gotten a PPP loan or if they got a city or county grant, does that mean they're not eligible? We would encourage every business to apply that is possibly believes they're eligible. It doesn't matter to us whether you've already received funding or not. I would say it may impact your priority a little bit, but it will not impact your eligibility. All eligible businesses are New Mexico for-profit businesses. We just talked about that. That's the ones with residency of at least 51% ownership by New Mexico residents. And then there's a few of the nonprofits. So the legislation says 501c3s, which are your charitable organizations, 501c6s, which tend to be associations, 501c8s, which tend to be your benevolent organizations. And then there's two other 501c's that they've that serve veterans that are also eligible. We're going to evidence your residency through primarily through a driver's license. But if you have extenuating circumstances, check our website. There are some additional things you can supply if you haven't managed to convert your other your other driver's license from another state into a New Mexico driver's license. We have some additional documentation you could supply instead. Applications are online at nmfinance.com. You need to have a checking account because we're going to be supplying these dollars directly. We're going to do a direct deposit into your checking account. So we're not cutting checks, and it needs to be at a federally insured financial institution. So those are important things. The other thing that I'm going to mention quickly is everything happens on this website. So you submit everything up front. We're not going to be asking you for additional information unless there's just something that we don't understand in your application. But if you submit a complete application, we should be able to start processing your grant application without any additional documents. And you'll be sent a link to your email that says, go here to do your digital execution of your grant document. so that we can get that back and then directly deposit the money into your account. So if you've completed your application correctly, there should be very little back and forth, and we'd be in a position, within several business days to then make that deposit directly into your account should you be prioritized for funding. So give us an email that you check a lot. Don't give us an email that has your business account on it if that's not the one that you're checking, because it's vitally important. We have a very short period of time. It's vitally important that it be one that you are regularly checking. So look at that. And then we will eventually be getting back to businesses after the fact to find out how they're doing. Did you stay in business? Do you have employees? What does that look like? And we just want to be able to capture economic activity so that we can report back to our legislators about the importance of the funding they provided. The other thing that I'd note is that the application system, you can't save it. You don't have to create, an account or anything like that, but you can't save it. So get your stuff together, sit down, go in. If you go in and find out, ooh, I didn't get that, you can always come back to it later. That's not a problem. You may have to kind of what they call clear your cookies, refresh that, but you should otherwise be fine. And there's just a couple of documents that you're going to need. Here they are. A copy of your 2019 business tax return. Again, if you only have your 18, submit your 18 with a copy of the extension request you put in. We're going to need to see that quarterly wage report that we talked about from any month between January of 2019 and the most recent one. We're going to need to see a copy of a voided check or a canceled check. We want to see the front and back so that someone doesn't purport to be you and do a mock-up of a check. This is a fraud mitigation tool so that someone doesn't try to submit an application on your behalf. And then that driver's license, again, front and back. We need to see copies of those. And you can just take a picture with your phone. That works for us. And then lastly, again, nmfinance.com. That's where you'll access the application. Our frequently asked questions are there on that website. We update that website with any new information as it's coming in, and we try to highlight it for you. If you have a very technical question, you can email us at cares@nmfa.net, and we have different subject matter experts answering those questions. And then last, we have set up a line for people who have questions and they really just need to talk to someone, and that's 505-992-9696. You'll be sent to an operator and you can choose whether to speak to a Spanish-speaking operator or an English-speaking operator. And that, Shannon, is my presentation.
Well, there's a whole lot of information in there, and I want everybody to know we're going to get a, a copy of that slide deck, and we're going to make sure that you guys have access to some of those questions that might be, like she said, frequently asked questions, or that maybe you're just not sure and you want to make sure you have all of your information in order before you apply, since that window, is limited and you can't go back and keep making changes and all of that fun stuff. So I want to make sure you do all that. But I want to read.
Shannon, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm going to mention that a copy of this is already available on our website. So Perfect. If you go to nmfinance.com and go to the Small Business Cares Relief page, there's a copy of this presentation. There's a copy of a webinar we did last week, very similar to this, but with some more question and answer period following it. So there's a lot of stuff there. Please take a minute to take a look at it.
So I want to just do a little bit of recap for those of you that joined us late and you're not sure. I'm going to kind of just bullet point a couple of important things. And then we just have a couple of questions that have come in either via text or via Facebook. So first and foremost, the application, online application opened today, about 30 minutes ago, and will go until December 18th. And that is really, really important, because I know that all of you are going to call and say, when does it close and how much time do I have? You have through December 18th. But what I love what Marquita said was, don't panic and everybody jump on right away. It's not first come, first serve. There's criteria that you meet. So whether you apply next week or whether you apply today, of course, the sooner the better. But, you want to make sure that you understand that. So don't panic yet. There's $100 million available. It's been split up, 60 million in urban areas, 40 million in rural areas, just more for your information, because we get those questions a lot. how much is really allotted to us. And that's how it works. Hospitality does have some set asides. This has been a really, really hard year for those of you out there that maybe work in, IT and don't really understand hospitality and tourism. It's like our third largest industry in the state and obviously one of our biggest hit. And when you think about the amount of people that hospitality and tourism employs through hotels and restaurants and attractions and the different way that we drive people to our state and to our cities for tourism, it's huge, and that impact is huge. And so we want you guys to know, if you're in that industry, you need to apply. This is really, really important that you apply. I think that something that is really unique, that I love what you said, Marquita, was when they are using a particular quarterly reporting document, if you didn't particularly want to use 2020 or you particularly want to use 19, they're allowing you the option of the 19 or 20. And so I think that that's really important because it could help you if you have a business that had over 100 employees but has less because of COVID. But it could also help you if you need to use seasonal numbers, if you happen to be one of those businesses that benefits from seasonal business and traffic. So I think that that's important. Money is based on number of employees. So I think that that's also important that you guys know. For those of you that are at, 200 employees, this is a different fund. So we want to make sure that we're clear on that. I also think that one of the things I thought was really important that Marquita said is, regardless of if you've applied for previous dollars, PPE, Idle Bridge, whatever you were doing back at the beginning of the year, you can still apply now. Please, please, please apply, regardless of what you've received already. Doesn't even matter, you just need to apply. I think the biggest thing for us, we get this question a lot, is if you are a nonprofit that falls within the C3, C6, C8, there was some that she had up on her screen, we're going to share it with you again, you can apply. That is huge, absolutely huge, because nonprofits have not been able to apply, especially in that C6 range. So for all of you organizations that are dues collecting organizations out there that are C6s, there is hope, and it's in the form of some of this CARES money. So I just wanted to touch base, give you some basic bullet points, and really encourage you to start gathering your documents together. We're going to be on top of you guys about applying. Now, there's just a couple of questions before we move over to, I believe Johanna has joined us, but Shawnee as well. Now, can you use this money to hire new employees, was one of the questions that came in.
Certainly. I mean, you can use this money to for payroll, for rent. So if they're new employees, or if you're bringing back some of your former employees, those are all still eligible expenses.
And so I also believe that you had said something along the lines of infrastructure, meaning if you had to increase your digital infrastructure during this time, you can use it for that as well. So I think that was another business that just opened this year. What about a business that just opened now and really put them in 2020?
Yeah, so the business, the funds are directed to businesses that experienced negative impacts as a result of COVID. So if the business opened, that is to say, they didn't even start to apply for their tax ID numbers, they didn't get their license until June or July, they don't qualify because they weren't negatively impacted. They knew the pandemic was happening when they started their business. So hard to say they were impacted. But we know that it takes a while to create a business. We know that there's a lot that goes into it. So if you can show us documents, you may not have your 2019 tax return because you weren't accepting, you didn't have any revenues at that point. If you can show us that you had a federal ID number, that you had a business license, that you took out a business loan, any of those things would be acceptable documents to us to indicate that you are eligible for the program.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That really clears up those questions, because we've had several businesses that have opened in 2020, but it doesn't mean that they didn't start in 19 or they weren't working to prepare to open. So very, very important information there. Now, here's an interesting question. You talk about if you were negatively impacted, and most of us would think, at least I would think, that a negative impact impact would mean loss of income. That's kind of where my mind would go. But what if you're a business that maintained during this time, but you didn't see the growth that you'd been experiencing over the last few years? So how does that affect those businesses?
Sure. So that's really where it gets where the priority based on severe economic impact comes into play. If there aren't very many applications, then you're likely, fine. If in fact, though, we have more applications than we have money available, we're going to be prioritizing them based on that profit and loss per employee. So if it really just comes down to who came in the door with an application. It may be, in fact, that you're eligible to be funded because you fall, within the amount we have available, but we're going to do it based on those people that suffered the greatest impact first, and we'll deliver the dollars until we're out of money.
Well, I tell you guys, for everybody that's out there listening and that will continue to watch this because we post these videos everywhere, apply. The bottom line is apply. You don't know if you're eligible. You don't know if you're going to get denied. Don't flying. The city right now has had to reopen a second round of funding because they couldn't give away all the money. So today, also on top of that, the city with the, I think 5 million, or I don't know the exact numbers, we'll get you that info moving on. The county has also opened with another 2 million available. That's simply because the money wasn't allocated. It wasn't applied for and it wasn't handed out. So businesses, I'm telling you, you need to apply, even if you don't think you qualify. Let them go through the process of letting you know. So thank you, Marquita. Hang on, we're gonna have more questions, but I wanna move over to Shawnee, and I believe, like I said, Johanna might have joined us. I don't know for sure, but I would love to turn it over to you guys to kind of continue the conversation.
Great. Thank you, Shani. I mean, Shani and Shannon. Shawnee and Shannon. It's been a morning. Thank you so much, Shannon. And good to be here with you. My name's Joanna Nelson. I'm with the New Mexico Economic Development Department and joined by my colleague, Shawnee Harvey. And Shannon reached out to us today and wanted to see if we could get an update on what we're up to and some of the programs that we've got cooking that can play a helpful role in recovery. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, Shannon, if that's okay.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
We'll give a brief overview, and let me switch this really quick. Okay, so really quickly, for those of you that aren't familiar with our department, our cabinet secretary is Alicia J. Keys. Our deputy cabinet secretary is John Clark. And as you can see, we have several divisions within our department. And we're fairly small, I think, in the scheme of things. I think we've got about 50-ish employees. And
I don't think your screen share is coming through.
Oh, it is not?
Yeah, you might have to share again.
Okay. Oops.
And I've not seen you on this. There you go. I was gonna say maybe it has something to do with the camera, but there you got it. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I do not have childcare this morning, so my husband and I are swapping off, and I don't think I've brushed my hair this morning. So
I love it. We have a great picture. We love the picture.
But as you can see now, you can get an overview of what we're involved in, and we have various divisions. And so the programs that we're talking about are general and fall within the Office of the Secretary in Economic Development. And this slide is giving you an idea of some of the things that we're engaged in right now. And one of the things that we have really put a focus on when the pandemic hit is how can we get information out to business owners? And that includes rural areas. And so one of those things was we expanded on our webinar series. We were doing those once a month. And so as you guys know, when the pandemic hit in March and shutdowns occurred and restrictions occurred, it was fast and furious. PPP hit, EIDL hit, there was a lot going on. And so we you know, we ever since have been trying to work with our partners, NMFA included, to help get information out about programs. So we do have a YouTube channel, and you can go back and you can look at previous webinars that we've done. And then I wanted to highlight some of the webinars that we have coming up. And I'll let Shani take it away on this first one, because she has been working on this initiative focused on assisting business owners of color. So do you want to add some insight into that, Shani?
Sure. Thank you, Johanna. I appreciate it. So I have been spearheading this mini series for business owners of color with the help of my awesome coworkers like Joanna, and really getting gathering information that typically communities of color are left out of the situation on.
Whoops, sorry about that.
No problem. So information about effective financial tools in alternative lending institutions is kind of what we focused on for part one, because a lot of times when we're thinking about, you know, I need capital, I need financing, and I don't know where to go, I only know the bank. Well, there's a lot of other resources out there that aren't the bank. And available on our YouTube page is a recording from part one, where we go into depth about all the different alternative financial lending institutions that are out there and based for underrepresented and underserved communities. And this Friday at 12:30, we will be doing our part two. We'll be talking about tools to help your business flourish. And we'll be hearing from our special presenters, which are West and the New Mexico Small Business Development Center, really to get into the kind of resources and technical assistance offices that are there. Because no matter what stage of business you're in, if you're just thinking about planning, or you're getting ready and you've already been in business, you're a seasoned business owner and you know what you've been doing, there is still tons of resources that are out there that can help you increase your productivity, expand, whether you're looking to grow, just get your business off the ground. Tons of great stuff. We're obviously gearing towards communities of color because they tend to be left out of these traditional business and financial systems. But of course, the information is going to be great for everyone. So we really look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Shani. And to follow up, some of the other things that are also happening, this is a busy week, but we have been engaged in this initiative that we're calling the Business Finance Fairs. And we were doing these in person, but the idea behind these events was, how do we connect the financing organizations with the business owners that need financing? Sometimes there can be a disconnect. And so we were focusing on regions of the state. We went to northern region, central, and this will be our first virtual finance fair, and that'll be focused on the southwestern part of the state. And so how that works is that businesses in the southwestern part of the state can log on, and they will hear these 2-minute pitches from lenders, the local governments that still have CARES grant program money, as well as CDFIs. It's a big mix of funding program representation that'll be coming together. So that'll be happening on the 9th. And so the next one will be in the Southeast region, and hopefully that'll be sometime in January. We also have 2 webinars coming up I wanted to let this group know about. The SBA will be giving an overview of their surety bond program, and that'll happen on Thursday. And this is really great for folks that need insurance, especially like in the construction trades. We also will be highlighting import and exporting overview, like an overview of resources. The SBA will be participating. Let's see who else are the Department of Commerce, as well as there's an organization out of UT San Antonio, UTSA. And so that'll be some great information if you have a business that's interested in exporting. Fundit is a group that we meet quarterly. Our upcoming meeting is on Thursday. And this is if you're involved in community work and you have a public project that encompasses economic development or infrastructure, community development. What about a business incubator or some type of revitalization project? This is a great way to connect with all the funding sources at one time. So you have representation from any organization, federal, state, philanthropic, that has money available for public projects. If that piques your interest, please follow up and we can get you some information on that. And then one more plug is the Rural Efficient Business Program. If you are a rural business located in a community that has a population less of 50,000, we can come in and do a, not us, but engineers can come in and give a no-cost energy assessment. So they can walk into your place of business and say, you know what, if you changed your light bulbs, if you weatherized your windows, if you put some weather stripping here, you could be saving $200 a month or whatever that could be. So this is an interesting time to really look at energy consumption and efficiency. And right now we're conducting a series of interviews around the state. So you can find more information on our website. And that brings us to the Collateral Assistance Program. Really want to make sure I highlight this program because it could be a useful recovery tool. So what this program is it allows us to assist with businesses that have a shortfall in collateral. They have a deficiency. What we're seeing currently is obviously a lot of lenders are leery of risk and leery of the uncertainty in the economy, especially that was mentioned earlier, especially in the hospitality trades or specific industries that have been really impacted by COVID. So how it works is, let's look at a restaurant example. A restaurant is wanting to purchase a $100,000 piece of equipment, a freezer, and a lender might be hesitant to lend the full amount, the 100,000. So they want a little bit of extra security. Maybe they're only willing to recognize 75% of that 100,000. They need some extra support. So what we do is we come in, we purchase a CD to fulfill that shortfall in collateral. So we put cash in the bank to help the bank lower their risk so they will make the loan. This is not a loan to the borrower. The borrower doesn't even really get involved. If that loan defaults, the bank simply takes our collateral. They recoup our collateral. And so this program actually is based on models that were put into place by the Obama administration as a recovery tool after the recession. So it's a really good time, I think, to utilize this money in terms of recovery as we're dealing with the impacts of COVID. So we do have a special emphasis on this program to focus on business owners of color, women, veterans, and other socially disadvantaged groups that are defined by the SBA 8A program. That's what we use to define our targets. And then also special focus on the governor's 9 targeted industries. Just because you have a business that is not in these industries does not mean you cannot participate. However, if you do hit all of these traits, that allows us to get up to our maximum participation, which is up to $250,000 that we could purchase a CD, or we're not going to go over 50% of the principal. And so if you have any questions, you can go to this website, but I really encourage you to keep this in your back pocket as a potential help and assistance if you're needing to get some type of commercial loan. And then one more thing, I'm finishing up, Shannon. These are our regional reps. They're located all over the state, and these are really the front line of our department, and they can help you connect to various programs. They can connect you to our department, and they're a really great resource, and you can find that at that link. And I think, oh yes, and then here's our final slide. One of the things I really want to make sure people understand is that we are putting out news and updates every Friday. So we're highlighting all news that's relevant to COVID financial assistance programs. That includes the small business CARES grant that Marquita was just mentioning. We put out information on that on Friday. And this has just become a really great way to just get information not only about state programs and news related to business but also nationally too. And so if you aren't getting those newsletters, please go to this site and you can get information. Here's our website, gonm.biz. Here's our YouTube channel. If you have questions about opportunity zones, we're also involved with that. Here's a link to the SBDC, which, as I know you guys know that they're a fantastic resource. And then here's some various contacts within our department. So I hope that wasn't too long, Shannon. But
No,
that's
it was not. It's informative. It's so important. We actually have an SBDC Small Business Development Center office at the chamber. We also have a PTAC office, and we also now have the MBDA, Minority Business Development Agency, right out of the chamber. And so I cannot say how important the last 10 minutes have been. I'm thinking of so many business owners that contact us on a regular basis with questions and all these programs. As you guys can imagine, there's a lot of information out there in the world. And sometimes when a department within the state does this for us and puts it all together in one place, it's like a magic. And I'm hoping we can get a copy of this slide deck because we want to share particular slides. There is so much good information to all you business owners out there. The opportunities are endless. I'm making my list right now, people I need to call back and connect to these links, because maybe last week I didn't know these links existed. And so it's vitally important that we take advantage of what is offered, what is available to us by our state. It's there to help us grow. It's help, the Economic Development Department is particularly, that's what they're geared towards, to help our economic platform grow and succeed and scale. And so I really want to thank you guys so much. This has been so informative. We do have another question that's come in. I'd like to bring Marquita back before we start to wind down the hour, if you're available, or if any of you guys can answer this question. Are businesses with tax liens or currently have any debt to the state, but that are under ongoing payment agreements, are they automatically disqualified, or should they apply?
So I'm going to repeat the message that you gave. Everyone should apply. Right now, there is no prohibition from us funding those businesses. So please apply.
Everybody, please apply. Well, you guys, it has been an incredible hour already. I wish we had 4 hours with these ladies, because I'm positive I could think of a million questions, and I see that you guys are still asking. And if you have questions, continue to send them and post them, whether it's on Facebook or wherever you're watching, and we'll make sure that those questions get answered. It's really, really important that small business owners understand. Business owners with employees of 100 or less understand. You must apply. You don't know if you're going to be disqualified. It's not based on first come, first serve. And I think that's the most important, the most important thing to take away today is it's not based on that. And so you don't know, you need to apply. And I just want to say thank you to the Economic Development Department for our state being here, because that collateral program is just wow. I mean, again, as we were talking, I'm making my list of who I need to reach out to and let them know that these programs exist. So I really, really cannot say thank you enough. Right now there is money available. Marquita said it best when she said, it's my job to get it into your bank account before Christmas. So help her do her job by applying. Let's meet the goals that we need to complete. Let's get rid of all of the money into the pockets of the businesses that need them now more than ever. And so as we close up this hour, Marquita, please give us a closing. Tell us what is most important and what should we take away from this hour?
So I would say visit our website, nmfinance.com. There are frequently asked questions. The application is the link there. This slide deck is already on the website. Your list of documents you need to obtain, all the stuff you're going to need is at nmfinance.com. And I would encourage you to start there and to please apply. Take your time and please apply.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marquita. Shawnee, same question. I love the program that you're going to be doing next week, but please, close us up with a little bit of information. We want to make sure and share those links. So I hope that you guys will share the slide deck with us.
Yeah, we will absolutely get it to you. And part 2 is actually going to be this Friday, the 11th.
This Friday.
will be at 12:30. It'll only take an hour of your time. You'll sit down with your lunch, get your thinking cap on. Be going over resources because there is so many resource offices and technical assistance centers, and it's about kind of gathering that information up and giving it to you all in a way that's going to help you find the help that you need for your business. And also we went over alternative lending institutions in part 1. The stuff that Joanna mentioned, the CAP program, collateral assistance program, all of that stuff on our gonm.biz, where you can sign up for our mailing list. We have resource lists, a COVID-19 resource list of grant opportunities, loan opportunities, links right to the nmfinance.com website to get you to those CARES continuity grants. And we're a resource office here to help New Mexico businesses thrive. And we have that information for you guys. So we really want to help you all get that together.
GoNM.biz, is that correct?
That's
So
it.
for our marketing manager who is behind the scenes here helping us with the webinar today is listening, but she also does all of our marketing and social media. GoNM.biz. We want that to be our new best friend. We're going to share that as often as possible. Share it with our membership team because that is an important link to go to find those resources. And to close us up, Joanna, is there anything you would like to say to sum up the hour? We really appreciate you guys being on today.
Sure. Thank you, Shannon. Thanks for the opportunity to be here with you all. And just thank you it's an honor to be here with Marquita and all the incredible work they're doing at NMFA and all the work that you all are doing. This is a really tough time. So it's great to come together and share resources and information and support. We're here to help.
Well, it is a tough time, as she stated, but 2021 is right around the corner, and we're all going to take a big, deep breath, and we're going to focus and work on how we're going to get our economy back to where it needs to be, help our hospitality and tourism industry, help all small businesses that need our support right now. You can find us online at www.ahcnm.org. You can always call the Hispano Chamber at 505-842-9003. We're not in the office, but we do check the messages all day and we'll connect you. If you need to connect to a department, if you need to connect to more information or you need a link, we'll make sure and get that to you. And most important, guys, we have PPE supplies. The last thing small businesses need to be doing right now is spending money on masks and sanitizers, thermometers, and all that stuff that goes along with it. Please reach out one more time, 842-9003 in Albuquerque. And John Lewis, who is running our PPE program, will call you back, set a time for you to come down and pick up a box of PPE supplies. They're there for you. We want to get them out to you. You do not have to be a member. You do not have to be in Albuquerque. Call us. We have plenty to give away, and we want to give it all away. So you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Christmas is just a couple of weeks away. A great feeling inside to know that we're going to be able to take a few days, a breather, and just really be thankful for what we have. So we want to, one more time, thanks to everybody that was on the panel today. And we hope to see you guys on Wednesday with some more small businesses so we could talk about some Christmas shopping. So everybody have a great Monday and a great week, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Shannon. Bye.